Listen, we celebrate all business owners on this show. The Business Shower Podcast, a space where business owners can shine. Building systems has to be a way of life. Having your own business just never felt so good. It's time to stop relying on 9-to-5s to take care of our families. Shout out to all business owners, because you know what? We are the real villagers.
All right, and welcome to the Business Shower Podcast, a podcast for business owners to shine. Today I have Nikki Cheak with us. Nikki, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I had a busy morning, but we're here. So tell our listeners who you are and what your business does.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Nikki Cheak, and I am the founder of Intentional Wellness Coaching. I specialize in helping busy moms reclaim their energy and go from I'm too tired to I've got this, so that their days are filled with energy and that they can handle life no matter what is thrown at them and how busy things get.
Okay. So what made you want to get into this type of business?
Great question. So I just thought being tired was a part of like just being a mom, right? And, it's actually not a normal part of being a mom. And so for me, the journey really began even pre-kids. I worked for a Big Four consulting firm. I was on the road all the time. I was tired and just, never really got out of that. I stopped traveling. I had kids and then started working from home. And thought that would just, magically start getting better, is that I wasn't on the road. So I was home, and that definitely was not the case. So I thought that it would be a normal part of motherhood, that I would always be tired. And I started recognizing little things that I could be doing to change that narrative. Small steps that I can integrate into my life, knowing that everything was busy. I was working. I had a full-time job. And 3 boys. And once my oldest turned 18 months, we were involving him in everything. So he was getting involved in soccer, and then it snowballed from there. And so we're always on the go. And my tiredness never really got better. And so starting making those small shifts from how I hydrate my body, how I wake up in the morning, gratitude, and just really focusing on what I could control in my day has shifted everything. And because of that, I have learned how to reclaim my energy, feel better. And I want all moms to recognize that they don't have to feel tired all the time.
Yeah, that is true. Okay. Yeah. So, one of the questions that I like to ask every entrepreneur that comes on my platform is, did you go to school for this? Because I feel like college is pushed upon a lot of individuals, and it probably shouldn't be, because there's people out there that are making money without a college education. But then you have the other side of people who are, college educated and are still making good money. So did you go to school for what you're doing now?
Great question. So I got my master's or my undergrad in psychology. And I always knew deep down, it was like an innate desire for me to be able to help people and make a direct impact. And my first several parts of my career were all in learning and development. So I was still helping, and I was making a direct impact on people, but not in the way that I wanted. And so I got my master's degree in human resources development. And then, still same thing. Still was working in learning and development, worked with a lot of people in resource management, helped with people's careers, still wasn't making that direct impact. So decided that I was going to go get certified to become a health and wellness coach. And from there, that really has set the trajectory for me, and knowing that was my purpose, and that was really what I wanted to do.
Okay. So doubling back to your question, did you have a stint in human resources at some point in your career?
Yeah. So in part of learning and development, that was HR was a little bit a part of my role. And I was a resource manager, which was kind of along the lines in tandem with our human resources department when I was in consulting. So that was kind of parallel.
Okay. And then the reason why I asked that question is because I'm in human resources right now. That is I call myself a corporate baddie. That is my full-time job. So I always like to know, and it's funny because I have a degree in psychology as well. So look at us out here making moves. So knowing that entrepreneurship can be a tough road, right?
Yeah.
In those moments where you may feel like you don't want to get up and do anything, but you know you have things to do for your business. How do you stay motivated and how do you keep going?
Yeah. So I have I actually have a Post-it note on my desk and it says hope. And I can't say that this, concept came from me, but hope stands for help one person every day. And so at the end of the day, my goal is really to be able to share ways for moms to feel better. And if I can help at least one person every day, then I know that I've made a difference in my day. And so on the days it's hard, that's where I go to.
Okay. That's a good, some good advice to give our listeners, because most of my listeners are new business owners, future entrepreneurs, and even entrepreneurs that are already in the thick of it. And sometimes they struggle with that. It's time for me this is what I have to do, and this is why I have to do it. But I think that's a good way to look at it. Like, you're helping one person every day.
Yeah.
Right.
If
I
you
love
can do
that. Okay.
just one person, then you know
All
you've done
right.
something.
Exactly. So did you have a mentorship in the industry that you're in now? Do you have a mentor, and how did you acquire that mentorship?
Yeah, great question. So yes, I've actually hired multiple mentors. And I have been, shorter time in entrepreneurship, but even prior to entrepreneurship, I was working with coaches. And so I recognized how important being like having a coach and a mentor to support you was. And so, yes, I think that investing in a mentor is incredibly important. And I don't foresee my entrepreneurship journey at any point in time without one.
Okay. Okay. So do you feel like you took a little bit from each one of those mentors? Because some people think that they need to get one person that's going to teach them everything. So do you feel like you've got a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person, a little bit from this person?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important. And I go back to even like my kids and coaching and how important it is, right? For you to learn one skill from this coach and another skill from this coach. And so, yes, I think it's so important to have multiple mentors that can give you different perspectives on things, because there's never going to be one right way to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I totally agree with that. I myself had several mentors.
Yeah.
So, and you learn a little bit from each one of them. So I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question is, what is your biggest failure and what did you learn from that?
Mm. I think for me, it was probably launching before I was really ready. Um, and kind of taking a step back and recognizing, okay, like I need to probably fix a couple of things before I'm really like ready to make ready to make bigger moves. And so I think for me, it was just taking that step back and learning, because at the end of the day, I don't see failures as really a failure. I see it as a way to move forward, right? Because at the end of the day, if we're entrepreneurs and we're not failing, and we're not making mistakes, and we're not learning how to grow, right? And we're not learning how to better our business.
Exactly. So I want to just double back to that question. So you said a couple things that I want to point out. The first thing is launching before you were ready. So let's break that apart. What did that look like for you?
For me, it was probably introducing my offer to the world before I knew exactly what the outcomes were going to be, I knew in my head what I wanted them to be, but really making sure that like it was done the right way. And so that was, I think, the biggest lesson for me
Okay.
I'm all about taking messy action. I think it's important, and you're not going to grow and if you don't. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that one for me was, I wish I would have just waited just a tiny bit longer.
Okay. All right. So, that, so I like that part, but then I'm going to bring in the part where you said that nothing is a failure, but everything is a lesson learned, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
always say failures. That's kind of like a trick question I asked. A failure is never a failure. It's really a lesson learned. So do you
Yeah.
think you would have learned the lessons that you learned if you didn't jump into it when you did?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I probably would have. Yeah, probably not. I
Okay.
think I'm glad that I had that opportunity, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's the only way you're going to learn.
And that is what the point I'm trying to make here, on my podcast. There's no one's road is going to be perfect. My road is
Mhm.
different, your road is different, your road is different, and everybody's road is going to be different. So I just
Yeah.
feel like there's no best way, there's no blueprint. We just got to kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself, right? Maybe you could have done a little bit more to prepare yourself before you started. Maybe I could have done a little bit more to prepare myself before I started, but we learned things along the way, and those things taught us to teach others, right? So it's almost like we're we're getting poured into, and then we're pouring back into the world. That's how I like
Absolutely.
to look at it. Okay.
I love that. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, right? Okay. So, what are some resources that helped you along the way? Whether it's group chats, whether it was YouTube University, which is what I used to call it now, YouTube University. What are some resources that helped you along the way?
Um, in terms of building my business,
Yes.
there's been a lot of different resources that I've leveraged. I think different Facebook groups, getting on networking calls and going to events, I feel like have been huge.
Yeah.
For me, because the network, like, you meet people, and that's how you build your network, and that's how you
Mhm.
get your message out there.
Yes.
And so I think for me, it's really just about getting in the room and meeting people, whether it's a virtual room or an in-person room. I think it's very, they can be very similar if you know
Yeah.
how to, if you know how to handle it right. But that, I would say, was probably, those are my biggest resources that I've used.
Now, where are you based out of?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. So, you get to connect with people all over the world
I do, and I love it. And
within these
actually,
groups. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
and a lot of my network, my previous network in general, was global,
Okay.
because my last company that I worked for was a global company, and so
Mhm.
I have a global network, and that's been really fun to tap into them too.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. All right. So, what about software tools? What software tools do you use every day to stay productive?
Right now, I'm leveraging Kajabi a lot for my business, because it does everything that I need it to do at the moment.
Mhm.
And then I'm using Canva pretty often,
Mhm.
Google
Mhm.
Suite.
Yeah.
Um, those are some of the big ones that I'm in all day, every day.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. And I'm gonna put those resources in the link, in the bio link, when this episode is published, everybody, so you don't have to take notes and write it down. So if you can give one piece of advice, inspiring advice, um, on anything, right? What would that be?
Small, consistent actions add up. And I think
Mhm.
that that is true for your health and wellness. I think it's true for entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
If you take consistent action and you're doing something every day, you're going to build the confidence that you need to share your message with the world,
Yeah.
right? And I think that is the most important thing.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I hope you guys are taking notes, because just a little bit can go a long way. Even if you can only get through one task for the day,
Yeah.
you still did something, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the message I like to put out there. I know me, I need to take that advice, because sometimes I'm trying to do 45 tasks in one day.
I had a mentor one time tell me, make sure you pick three things a day that you need to get done. And I've given this advice to so many people.
Okay.
And you pick those three things, you get them done, And then once you get those 3 things done, if you have time to move on to other things, then you can move on to other things. But it's almost like pick those 3 things that you need to do and act as if you're going to get fired, even if it's by yourself, from yourself, if you don't get them done. Right.
Exactly.
So that's a lot of like where I started from, of like,
Okay.
these are the 3 things, and small, consistent action along the way.
Okay. So we've been in this recession, I'll say, this economic downfall for a little bit of a long time. I feel like since the pandemic. So what are some pain points that you've been dealing with these days with, what's happening in the world?
Good question. I would say since my business is newer, I wouldn't have anything really to compare it to, other than I think people still hesitate to invest in themselves, right? And I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with in general, especially if they're a service-based entrepreneur, where people don't want to necessarily invest in themselves, or they always have a reason not to. And so I think that that's kind of the biggest challenge and struggle that I've seen so far.
Okay. Yeah, and it is, but you'll get there. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's a question that I like to ask everyone that comes on my show. And it's almost like it's not really a double whammy, but it's a question only you know, right? So what's one thing no one knows about you, or your business?
Oh man. One thing no one knows about me or my business. Okay. My business, I'm kind of an open book, so I don't know that there's anything that people really don't know about me, at least friends and family. But my business, I would say I really started it because I started listening actually to a podcast. And the podcast was Just Ingredients. And I can't say no one knows this because I just shared this with her the other day. But that was really the reason that I started my health journey, which really led me to starting my business.
Okay. Well, no one, that listens to my platform knows that. That's how I like to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So looking ahead, right? What does the next 5 years look like for you and your business?
Yeah. So looking ahead, my goal is to, I am running group programs. So I would love to continue to build out my group programs for my coaching, because I think it's so important. And so I have one program right now that I'm currently in the process of relaunching. And my goal is to have potentially 2 programs that still both are toward busy moms, but maybe just slightly different. Maybe one's more of a beginner and then one's more of an advanced, and then also continue my one-on-one coaching, and maybe start a podcast. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So your group programs, they are like, I'm trying to find the word. I can't speak this morning. Kind of like group programs for moms who are entrepreneurs, and then you guys meet once a week, once a month, and discuss, updates and things with your business.
So no, so my group programs are more geared toward busy moms for health and wellness. It's a 12-week program that dives into all sorts of different topics in the realm of health and wellness, and really how moms can fit that into their schedule.
Okay. All right. I like that. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, for the busy moms out there that want to connect with you, Nikki, can you tell our listeners how they can connect with you online?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way is on Instagram. You can find me at intentional.wellness.coaching.
Okay. All right. Nikki, thank you so much for coming on the Business Shower podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself. This episode. Awesome. This episode will be airing this month, February, so stay tuned. And to the Business Shower listeners out there, just one step at a time. I feel like that was the message for today. One step at a time, one thing in one day. All right.
Yeah.
Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Have a great day.
Awesome.